Islamophobia in Bollywood. Bollywood. Bollywood, originally known as Bombay cinema, is one of the largest billion-dollar entertainment industries in the world that produces 1,500 movies a year. That is double the amount that Hollywood produces. It is already culturally significant in India, but is also considered itself as an international cultural phenomenon. For its audience, both in India as well as internationally, Bollywood shapes the conceptions regarding India and whatever can be considered Indian. So whether it's an outfit, physical gestures, the way of speaking, the storytelling or tropes, for an audience, Bollywood has an influence on producing narratives, emotions, and opinions. Since Bollywood is such a big industry, it also had studies, courses that specialized in different parts of the industry. One such course of study that someone could specialize in was the Muslim social. This was also a genre in Bollywood that refers to a specific type of Hindi cinema in which the films focused on stories centered around Muslim characters and their lives. It is important to note that there were no categories such as the Hindu social or the Christian social. And while these films generally were considered to show stories of Muslim characters, almost always, these characters portrayed Muslim men as wine-drinking courtesan lovers, and women were shown as part of the Tawaif culture. Tawaif was a historical profession during the Mughal era, where Tawaifs referred to a highly skilled courtesan who were trained in various art forms, including classical music, dance, poetry, and even literature. When portraying a Muslim woman in films, the scenes were mainly of mujra, a form of dance by the Tawaifs to entertain the elite and nobility and those who were a patron of the arts. Now, the profession of Tawaif had a very specific historical and cultural context, yet Bollywood had sexualized Muslim women as immoral and uneducated and interchanged the concept with prostitution. By associating the concept of Tawaif with prostitution, these films not only showed disregard for the rich cultural history of the Tawaif profession, but also contributed to the stigmatization of Muslim women. While early representations of the Muslim social were such, gradually narratives shifted to further othering the Muslim. Muslim social dramas gave way to anti-social dramas after 2000, in which the Muslim identity was given the terrorist title. When Muslim characters are portrayed as terrorists, certain characteristics and tropes are associated with them. They have visible religious markers and are often shown to have connections or affiliations with international terrorist organizations. These characters are also shown in engaging in acts of violence or planning terrorist attacks without any sense of empathy. More importantly, these films criminalize practices of Islam such as dua, saying salam, and praying. In the last 2 to 3 decades, Bollywood has reaped profits from a growing trend of these anti-Muslim hate films. The film industry has been putting out Islamophobic portrayals of Muslims, and such plots have become even more influential in nature with the BJP government in power. The films released today are not even subtle in being Islamophobic. Yet, they have gone to the extent that the audience has normalized the Islamophobic sentiments in these films. It is as though Bollywood is partnering with the Hindutva forces in the latter's project of historical revisionism, that is, rewriting Indian history by marginalizing or erasing Muslims. As a result, they're able to manipulate the audience's understanding of history and promote the political agenda of the ruling party. Historical films such as Padmavat or Tanhaji produce false narratives of Muslim empires invading an already existing Hindu India, and while doing this, they also depict Mughal rulers as vile, barbaric, sexual predators, constantly dehumanizing them. These films also cherry-pick incidents and discuss them without any facts or context. Rather, they're titled as untold stories of some forgotten tragedy or hero and are considered to uncover a dismissed truth. For example, the film Kashmir Files wrongly blames Kashmiri Muslims for certain events when they had actually protected minority Hindu pundits at the time. These types of narratives not only distort historical events, but they also reinforce existing prejudices and biases against Muslims in Kashmir, a community already subjected to harsh violence. One of the most recent examples is Kerala Story, a film that claimed that 32,000 Hindu women in Kerala were converted to Islam and sent to serve jihadists in Iraq and Syria. Such claims of conversion without any evidence fuel anger and hate, creating further tensions among Hindus and Muslims. Yet both these films were encouraged to be watched by the public by politicians and even made tax-free by the government. Other than explicit and obvious Islamophobic films, there are films that are blockbusters in theaters and are at times even played by famous Muslim actors such as Shah Rukh Khan or Salman Khan, yet still fall into the same sentiments of a Muslim terrorist and a plot revolving around the protagonist saving India from such people. The very settings of these films, the India they show to the world, otherizes the Muslims. For example, the minute the scene cuts to a Muslim neighborhood, a classic, stereotypical Muslim country shown in Western movies is depicted with an eerie music while the adhan plays, and a stereotypical gender-segregated place is shown with people in cold dark eye makeup and also have long beards and skull caps. Now, it's not necessary for those cultural symbols to represent the common characteristic of India's Muslim population. Instead, those images are forced to produce a stereotypical picture. As the Muslim character always has these cultural markers, their Muslimness becomes essential to their identity and is shown as the primary drive for their negative behavior. Such Islamophobic depiction serves a purpose, as it singles out and disparages one particular group of people repeatedly. Bollywood movies are always set in Hindu majoritarian societies, and Muslims are always viewed as the other. Now, regardless of whether they're not shown at all or portrayed as good or evil Muslims, they are nearly always an outsider. Even the identity of a good Muslim in these movies is one of a journey of proving their loyalty and Indianness to everyone.
I'm not a terrorist.
These films are deliberately designed, scene by scene, with the intention that anyone who watches will accept the propagator's version of the story. Now, when such films are being produced on very high budgets, are given the green light by the censor board, and then made tax-free and encouraged to watch by the Hindutva politicians, the industry itself becomes systemically and structurally Islamophobic towards Muslims. So even if it's Muslim actors on screen you see, the chances of them playing a character that carries these stereotypes isn't surprising. So do you now think that these could be the deliberate efforts that serve to escalate the Hindu-Muslim conflict in India? Films that once looked normal, may they actually be efforts by the Indian government to create a Hindu state that would oppress 173 million Indian Muslims? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Southern Insights, brought to you by Tanween English. Make sure to read the description below that has our list of references. See you next time.